Hello, today we're going to be discussing section 9.4, which is on volumes of prisms. Our essential question for the day is how can you find the volume of a prism? Our key idea is that the volume of a prism, which we will refer to as V, is the product of the area of the base and the height of the prism. Now all that means is that we're going to find the area of one of the bases. Remember, sometimes there are multiple bases depending on what type of figure you're looking at. But we're going to find the area of the base and multiply it by the height. So in this case, I'm going to take the area of this red base and multiply it by the height of this figure. Essentially what you can picture happening is that we're going to take this red base and drag it down from the top to the bottom. And as we drag this red shape, it's going to fill in the entire inside of the figure as we go. So eventually, as we make it all the way down to the bottom, the entire interior of this prism will be shaded red. So our goal in finding volume is to fill in the prism and to figure out how much can it hold inside. I'm going to go ahead and bring us over to a simulation so that we can better picture exactly what we're trying to find when we're determining the volume of a prism. Our goal when determining volume of any figure, and in this case a prism, is to figure out how much space does it hold inside. Another way to talk about this is if I were to fill this box with cubes, how many cubes could it hold? We're going to go ahead and watch a brief simulation as we fill in just the first level of cubes for this prism. So this prism, just the very bottom row, is going to take 9 cubes to fill. However, we need to fill the remainder of this prism as well, not just the first floor. So if we were to fill this entire prism, we would need more than just one layer of these 9 cubes. One layer fills the first level, a second layer might fill the second level up to about here, but then we would need a third layer to fill all the way up to the top. So if I've got 9 in this row, 9 in that second row, and then the top row would consist of 9, that would mean I would need a total of approximately 27 cubes to fill in my entire prism. Another way we can say this is that we need 27 of our units, whether it be inches, meters, yards, we need 27 of our units, but we need those units to all be in the shape of a cube, or three-dimensional. So we're going to have 27 cubic units, or 27 units to the third power. So in summary, all we're going to do is first find how many does it take for just one level, or this bottom you can picture as just the base. What's the area of the base? And then how many levels are we going to need, or what is the height of our prism? In this case, the area of our base was 9, and our height was 3. So all we did is we took that 9 for the base, and we multiplied it by our height of 3 to get our total of 27. Now we'll go ahead and go back to our notes. So to find the volume of a prism, again, all we're going to do is find the area of that first level, or the area of the base, and multiply it by the height so that we can fill in all of the levels that we need. Our formula is going to be area of the base multiplied by the height. Make sure you fill that in your notes, please. First, to find the area of our base, we're going to need to know the shape of our base. Now in this figure, there's a lot of different options we have, but I'm going to go ahead and just pick this bottom. This bottom is going to be my base, and the reason that it's allowed to be a base is because I can slide this blue base that I've just shaded. I can slide this from the bottom all the way up to the top, and it will match perfectly with this rectangle on the top. Therefore, this bottom can be a base. Remember, there are others, but this bottom is the one that I've chosen. So the shape of my base is a rectangle. The area of the base, I find that by going length times width, and in this case, my length is going to be 6, and my width is going to be 8. So length times width is 6 times 8, which is a total of 48 square yards. The height is just the distance from one base to another. So another way to find the height is just to ask the question, how far do we slide the base? To get it from one side to the other, how far do I need to slide it? And in this case, I need to slide it 15 yards. So this is going to be my height. So my height is 15 yards. To find my total volume, I just follow the formula above. The area of my base is 48. The height of my pyramid is 15. So 48 times 15 is going to be my volume. Now we can use a calculator to do this multiplication. 48 times 15 equals 720. So my volume is 720. My units are yards, and we're talking about a three-dimensional volume. I have length, width, and height, and I want to know how many cubes fill up this prism that I have. So I need to make sure that my yards are cubic yards. I need 720 yards that are all in the shape of a cube in order to fill up this prism entirely. We're going to do this just a couple more times. Find the volume of the prism. Remember that volume is the area of your base multiplied by the height. The shape of my base here, the side that I can slide, is not going to be the bottom of this prism. And the reason is I cannot slide this blue side that I've just shaded up. Since our shape gets smaller as we go up from that blue side, I will not be able to push that blue side anywhere. So the base that I'm actually going to be looking at is this front side. Because if I take this front side, I'm able to slide it straight back to meet the triangle on the back. So the shape of my base is the triangle. Now the area of this base, area of a triangle, is 1/2 the base times the height. The base and the height of a triangle meet at a 90-degree angle. Here's my 90-degree angle. So that means the base and the height are going to be 5.5 and 2. So 1/2 of 5.5 times 2. You can do this multiplication a number of different ways. I'm going to go ahead and multiply the 1/2 and the 2 together, because 1/2 times 2 is 1, and that makes things a little bit easier, times 5.5. And 1 times 5.5 is just 5.5. So the area of this front triangle, the area of the base, is 5.5. Now the height is just the distance that I will need to slide this blue base that I am shading. So in order to fill in this entire prism and calculate the volume, I need to slide this blue base a total of 4 inches back. So my height is 4 inches. And my volume is the area of the base, which is 5.5, multiplied by the height, which is 4, for a total volume of the product of 5.5 and 4. So on a calculator, I'm going to go ahead and do that multiplication. 5.5 times 4 gives me 22. So therefore, the volume of this prism is 22. My units are inches, and we're talking about a 3-dimensional space. So our volume is 22 cubic inches. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through the next 2 as well. If you feel comfortable to do them on your own, go ahead and try and do them on your own. If you feel like these are a little bit difficult, then go ahead and watch and write as I go through these. First thing I need to know is the area of my base. So the shape of my base will be the first thing to decide. This bottom square, I can slide up through my prism to match perfectly with the square on the top. So I'm going to let my base be that square. Therefore, the area of the base is going to just be length times width. which is 4 times 4, which is 16. The area of that blue square is 15. Now the height of my prism, we need to know how far I'm going to have to slide this blue base. If I want to slide this blue base from the bottom all the way up to the top, I am going to need to slide it a total of 4 feet. So my height is 4. So then my volume is just going to be the area of that base, which is 16, multiplied by 4, for a total of 64. My units are feet, and since we're talking about a three-dimensional space, I want cubic feet. For number 2, first thing I need to do is to find my base. The base is the side that I can slide back and forth through the prism. If I were to pick this top side, this large rectangle here, I would not be able to push that through to the other side, because as we can see, if I were to push it, the shape gets more narrow as we go, so it's not going to fit. Same thing with the left and the bottom sides. The only side that I can really slide is this front triangle. When I push this front triangle, it will slide perfectly back to meet the triangle on the back. So my base is going to be that triangle. So then the area of my base is 1/2 base of the triangle times the height of the triangle. Base and height meet at 90 degrees, and since this symbol means 90 degrees, my base and my height are 5 and 12. So I'll let my base be 12, and I'll let my height be 5. So my 1/2 base height becomes 1/2 times 12 times 5. Half of 12 is 6 times 5. And 6 times 5 is 30. So the area of the base, or the area of that triangle, is 30 square meters. Now I need the height of my prism. Or I need to know how far do I need to slide this base. If I take this base and I want to slide it to the other side, I need to push it a total of 9 meters. So my height is 9, meaning that my total volume is going to be the area of the base, which is 30, multiplied by 9, for a total of 270. If you're not comfortable with this multiplication, you may get out a calculator and multiply. 30 times 9 is 270. So my volume is 270. My units are meters, and volume is three-dimensional, so I want meters cubed. So what we have found is that it's going to take 270 meters that are all in the shape of a cube in order to fill up this prism that we are dealing with. And this is going to conclude our lesson on finding volumes of prisms for today. Thanks so much for watching.